I never really thought about it in the sense of the jersey being hung and the records and stuff like that. I just wanted to be the best I could be, and just trying to push that limit. Then I look back now and it's really cool to have a full circle moment, look back and say, man, that is a lot of points I've accomplished. Imagine this, a packed arena, fans on their feet, and history being made as Kelsey Plum's jersey ascends to the rafters at the University of Washington. The energy is electric, with NBA stars singing her praises and former teammates crying with joy. I never really gave it much thought. Now, let's switch to another part of the country. Asia Wilson is scrolling through her phone, scowling at the lack of excitement surrounding her own jersey retirement in February. Tickets are less expensive than a pizza, and the event isn't even close to selling out. We'll talk about Asia's reaction shortly. The question is, how did two WNBA stars end up with such different celebrations? The answer may surprise you, and it has everyone talking about the future of women's basketball. Are you ready to go? Is it time to call this? Everyone wants me to cry today, but there is no way. Everyone knows they're going to see something special, and Kelsey Plum is setting the standard for the Huskies women's basketball team. In my opinion, if anything, it just shows that if you're a women's basketball player who wants to play in college and you watch today, it's like this is what support is and what it looks like, right? Having a sellout crowd come back and acknowledge someone who played here. So it's possible to do right. I just think that sometimes you have to see it to realize that, hey, wait a second, there's a big fan base here. Let's go back a little. When this girl came along, she scored 3,527 points during her time at Washington. That's not just good, it broke the scoreboard. With that, ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at the top scorer in women's college basketball, Kelsey Plum. Plum wasn't just about the points, she was also a free throw wizard, setting the record with 912 successful shots from the line in her senior year. She went full supernova, dropping 119 points in a single season. Her impact goes far beyond the University of Washington, as she went from becoming the NCAA's all-time leading scorer to leading the Huskies to the national. Off the court, Kelsey earned a degree in anthropology from the College of Arts and Sciences. On the court, Kelsey was named the 2017 AP and N. Smith Player of the Year, a two-time All-American, and a four-time Pac-12 player. At halftime, the crowd goes silent, and all eyes are on her number 10 jersey, which slowly rises to the rafters. It symbolizes everything Plum accomplished and everything she stands for in women's basketball. She broke the 33-year-old NCAA career free throw record with 9 and 12 points. And she was the first draft pick in the WNBA. Plum's legacy didn't end with the UW. She went on to become a two-time WNBA champion, three-time WNBA All-Star, and All-Star MVP in 2022. DJ retirement celebrates a career that continues to shine, immortalizing her achievements as part of Husky history forever. Taking it all in, looking genuine, it just brings back so many memories. Her voice is a mix of nostalgia and disbelief. I feel incredibly fortunate to be able to spend this time with my family. Life goes by so quickly that it seems like I was a senior here 2 weeks ago. One word that best describes Kelsey Plum is fierce. She is a leader from the beginning, has the ability to laser focus, and is a winner. What really makes Kelsey unique is her character. In high school, Kelsey made a name for herself as one of the most talented and hardworking players in the nation. She was different even from the moment she arrived on campus, as her first day was a ride to the gym. What I admire most about Kelsey Plum is her work ethic, and during timeouts, the arena erupts with messages from Plum's Las Vegas Aces teammates and her former Huskies squad and her family. It seems like the entire basketball community came together to say, Kelsey, you're one of the greats. I was here in the gym, and she was always on the other side, getting the same amount of work. And you hear people, being in the gym before, after practice, that was her every single day. First one's here, last one's to leave. Kelsey literally never left. Every single drill that we did was competitive because of her. And I think that's what makes her who she is. She had laser focus for what she wanted to do, and she was going to do it in, and no one was going to stop her from doing it. W's current head coach, Tina Langley, beams. It's a fun day to celebrate history, and Kelsey Plum is thrilled to have her number up in the rafters. As the crowd erupts in cheers, you can't help but think that this is what it looks like when hard work pays off, and it's pretty darn inspiring, Plum's jersey retirement, isn't it? Kelsey is an incredible person, and the fact that she's hanging her jersey there in Hecht shows a different side of her, not just the talent, but the competitive side and the desire to sacrifice. And I don't think many people, and I'm not saying kids, I'm not saying players, I'm just saying people in general, I don't think people have that in them. Just a personal accomplishment. It's a turning point for women's basketball overall. Yes, I've told you this many times. You might be a better coach if you hadn't been involved in what we were doing. Welcome to the Jersey Retirements Club. Congratulations. You deserve it. Keep going and keep aiming for greatness. Hold on, people. While we're all celebrating Kelsey Plum's retirement, there's some serious drama going on behind the scenes. As they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but this time, let's be honest for a moment. Kelsey Plum's future with the Las Vegas Aces is looking shakier than a house of cards in a wind tunnel. Boy, this is based on several conversations I've had. It does seem like the most likely scenario is that Kelsey Plum would leave the Aces. My basketball mind was still struggling to comprehend Kelsey leaving and joining an organization like the Valkyries. But here's the thing, it's not just about basketball. It feels like high school again, but with million-dollar contracts and championship rings. What's been a little surprising, and I believe the reason there's so much talk about Kelsey Plum, is that during the season, when the other three members of the core four are the other three, Asia Chelsea, Jackie Young, and Kelsey Plum, the Golden State Valkyries have been making some interesting moves lately, and let me tell you that they're not just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Now, you might be wondering why Plum would want to leave a championship team. Well, sometimes it's not about the hardware, it's about feeling valued, appreciated, and seen. At this point, Plum is feeling more invisible than a referee's whistle. And before the Aces parted ways, former general manager Natalie Williams told me that she had been offered an extension but had turned it down. A part of me just thinks that if Kelsey Plum decides to leave the Aces, it might be a fresh start for her. It gives them a chance to have a great perimeter scorer, which we know she is, but it also gives her a little more familiarity because the new head coach was the previous assistant coach in Las Vegas. I think that could also work well because you're getting a new environment and experience, but you're still working with someone who knows you well, so you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. Picture Kelsey Plum, the undisputed star of the women's Bay Area basketball scene, no longer playing second fiddle or living in anyone's shadow. It sounds good, doesn't it? I would definitely not rule that out, but one thing that really jumps out at me is that, as you know, Kelsey is from Southern California and San Francisco is within the state, and I think that's the most intriguing place for her. I mean, I completely understand the fit, like you mentioned, like perimeter scoring for the Valkyries, and they'll definitely need that, but I also think she brings like this veteran championship mentality that Nathalina Kaz has emphasized that she wants to cultivate in the Golden State, and that would be fantastic, and they have the space to do it since they're just building their roster. There's no such thing as the Valkyries coincidence in the WNBA. She and Natalie were very close, as I recall from my first conversation with Nathalina Kaz. She told me that she spent the entire offseason doing Pilates with Kelsey Plum because Kelsey had introduced her to it, and they were waking up at around 6 a.m. This is definitely where it gets really interesting. Her former Aces teammate, Kate Martin, was praising her during her jersey retirement ceremony together to attend these pilot sessions. And I recall saying, that's something I would never do. I could never wake up early, to which she replied, well, you should consider it. Kelsey's changed my life as a result of our time together, and that's when asked about her free agency status during the ceremony, Plums politely declined to comment, citing a plot twist in the middle of her big moment. The question is Plums at a crossroads? Will she continue with the Aces, where she has won championships but feels underappreciated, or will she take a chance and join the Valkyries, where she could be the franchise player? The ball is in her court now, but I just can't imagine the Las Vegas Aces without that core four because they were all drafted there, right? I mean, they were all drafted there. And I mean, look, as a Warriors fan, losing Klay Thompson, I can somewhat identify with this, but that would be a huge setback for a team like Vegas, who came together and won 2 championships together. You know what's crazy? Sometimes even the biggest stars can get lost in their own shadows. In the case of A'ja Wilson's retirement from the University of South Carolina, for example, you think it would be a straightforward celebration, but this story has more twists than a pretzel factory. He says, it's not really about me. She knows how her privilege has gotten her to this point, and she's good at basketball, but she understands her privilege, which is what drives her to the top. It reminds me a lot of you and me. Let's set the scene. It's October 2024, and South Carolina finally decides to retire A'ja Wilson's number 22 jersey, which is great news, but didn't we all assume that happened years ago? The woman has a statue outside the arena, and it's the same day that Caitlin Clark retires her jersey at Iowa. It's a coincidence, so it's about as likely as finding a unicorn in your backyard, right? Well, her prices for her game are high, so you'd think that fans will be lining up around the block for tickets, but they're not sold out. Well, that must sting more than a missed free throw in the closing seconds. And while Clark's ceremony is scheduled to air nationally, Wilson's retirement crickets has no broadcast plans. Are on Iowa's Golden Girl, which is similar to showing up at someone else's party without warning, but you're not exactly turning heads. When the game CX's face comes around, many people are upset that it's the same day or the second day. But here's the twist. Wilson herself has been more silent than a library during finals week about the entire situation. She hasn't posted any excited tweets or Instagram pictures, as if she's unsure whether to celebrate or shrug. And I can tell that Caitlin Clark fans don't give a rip about A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.